All right, look back is back. Yep, according to what I just heard. All right, so now that I have the view and the URL, now I actually want to run it to see how it works. All right, so my server is running. Oh, article is not defined. I forgot to import. Oh, just an Americano. Yeah. Medium. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Just had an emergency. So, forgot to import article. So I'll say from what? Help me import my article, guys. From .models. Where is my model article? Which app? So my first question is it in the same folder as this views file? No. Where is it? An articles app, right? So I'll say from articles. Then dot models, okay. Import article. All right. Now let's see if we can run it. Okay, everything looks good. I'll say API/list. And it gives me this error. So it says article list should either include a serializer class attribute or override the getSerializer class method. So basically it's asking for something called a serializer class. What do you think this serializer class is? What does serialize mean? Someone said convert. Who? Object to what? No. Very close. Someone here, what did you say? To JSON. All right. So I need a serializer that will convert my query set to JSON. All right? Cool? So APIs communicate by taking in JSON and giving out JSON. Well, at least modern APIs. If you're still using XML, just stop. Seriously. Don't use XML. That's just horrible. I say that with all brutal honesty. Don't use XML. Anyways. Yes, just switch to JSON, all right? So, what I need is now is a serializer class. So, gonna go back here. I'm gonna say serializer class equals. So, something kind of important to look at. Does this have to be called query set? What do you guys think? Does it have to be called query set? Who says no? Raise your hand. Who says yes? No one wants to answer, like, no, we're too scared. Yes, correct. So it has to be called query set. This has to be called serializer class. Why? They are attributes of the list API view. All right? Cool? Any questions? So now, oh yes. What did you not understand?
Now, the query set is a list of, right?
So the query set is whatever objects I want to give back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or technically from my database. Yes.
Now, the serializer will transform
The query set into a JSON object. A JSON object. You'll see now. You'll see. So the whole JSON converting thing, the serializer class, this will click once you actually see the response back. All right, guys? Any other questions? Yes. Sure. Let's get the article list working, and then we'll do it all from scratch. All right? Deal? All right. Any other questions? All right. Cool. So let's create a new file, and I'm going to call this file serializers.py. It's very similar to a form. Very similar to a form, but it's not a form. But the way that you write it is very similar to a form. You'll see now. Okay? So, I'm going to say from REST framework, import serializers. All right. Now I'm going to say, I'm going to call this article serializer, and it's going to be serializers.model serializer. Give me a minute and I'll explain this to you guys, okay? We can do all this. I want you guys to see a few things first. Looks almost exactly like a form, right? If you just switch the word serializer with form, it basically becomes a form, right? So yeah, technically, the way that this is structured is exactly like a form. So what you're saying here is, hey, I'm creating a model serializer. What does that mean? I'm creating a serializer for my model. Which model is it? The article. Which fields would I like to include? The title and author. Okay? Don't worry so much about this. Once I show you the output, it'll click more. Okay?
that means you will filter, right? You choose the fields to be transformed to JSON, right?
Exactly. Well, that's when you're dealing with creating and updating. All right. So, give me a minute. Bear with me, guys, a little bit. I'm going to say from.serializers, import article serializer. an article serializer, okay? Cool? All right. Let's see how this works. If I refresh, it doesn't work. What's wrong? Invalid syntax. Did I forget to save? Where is this? What's wrong? From .serializers. Oh, I think why doesn't it like this? Is it spelling? That's weird. Serializer. Give me a second, guys. Am I forgetting something? It might be my spelling. No, that's weird. Interesting. Oh, okay. I just needed to restart my server. Okay. Just needed to restart my server. So, look at what I have now. So now it's showing me it's showing me a list of my articles. And what fields does it show? Title and author. Why? Because in my serializer, I only specified that I want title and author. All right? Now, REST framework gives you this pretty little interface, but technically, it would look something like this in real life.
How did you get that session? How did you reach out to the case? You didn't print it out.
I didn't
Print it out.
print what out?
I mean, how did you be able to read the case from all the things?
Oh, from your database. So look, what's happening is this view goes to your database. It says, give me all of the article objects that are published. Or I can just say .all. Doesn't matter. Okay? So it says, this is the data set that I want to send back. This is the query set that I want to send back. Okay. When I give it back, how do I want it to look? That's what the serializer class does. It tells the objects how they should be structured. So here I'm saying, hey, from the article, I only want the title and the author. I don't want anything else, just the title and the author. So when I make a request, I get this list back. If I add another field, let's say like content, a third field gets added, which is content. Clear? The URL right there. That's it. Any questions?
Before, now you said the view as a class, right?
Yes.
Before it was
Correct.
why is that?
So we could have done our views from the beginning as classes. All right? But if I explained to you guys how to do your views as classes from the beginning, you guys would have been confused. You get what I mean? So I just did it now as classes because you guys understand what a view is now. So I could do this article list as a view, as a function right now if I wanted to. Any other questions? You guys want me to explain this from scratch again? Yes? All right. So, let's delete the whole app. All right? Let's delete the API app. All right? Bye. So we'll start from scratch. Now what we're going to start by doing is building our own little API app, right? To create an API endpoint so that our features or our data set, or sorry, our database can be accessed by other applications. Correct? So I'll start by creating another app to keep my work organized. One app for the web stuff and the other app for the API stuff. Okay? So I'll say manage.py, start app, API. Whoops. That's just causing an error because in settings, I have something here called API, so I'll just comment it out. All right. So start app API. It created the app. If I type ls, I'll see the app. So what do I do now? I go and I register this app. Right? All right. API. What do I do then? Pip install Django REST framework. Did I spell it right? Probably not. Yeah, I think I spelled it wrong. Let's go to... Oh, yeah, it's wrong. Pip install Django REST framework. Pip install and pip install Django Float. So I just install all the packages that I need to deal with Django REST framework. All right. What did I do after that? I updated my requirements file because that's what I do when I install new packages. All right. All right. Any questions up until now? Django REST framework. Oh, that was a typo. It was wrong. This is the first correct one. Django REST framework. Any other questions? All right. Yes. No, I'm updating the requirements file. Whenever you install new packages, you want to update your requirements file so that you can keep track of all the packages that you have installed. Any other questions? All right. So now, after doing that, I want to make sure that I have REST framework here in my installed apps. All right? REST framework? Cool? Cool. So now I'll go to my API app and go to my views. And what I would like to implement is an API view of my list of articles. So what I'm going to import is from REST framework dot generics import API, wait, was it lists API view. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm importing a class called list API view. Okay? It's an API view that helps me render a list. Now, what would I like to create a list of? My articles. So I'm going to call my view article list. It's just a name. So I'm going to call it article list. And what type of class or what kind of view is this going to be? List API view. So I'll just take this, put it here. All right. I see some of you falling asleep. Yeah? Or are you just resting your eyes?
Now we're creating the receiver before the sender, right?
You're just creating an API endpoint?
Just an import. Okay. I mean,
Just give me a minute. You're just creating an API endpoint that when you make a GET request to, it gives you back a response, which is a list of objects. So GET request, list of objects. That's all. All right. Any other questions? All right. So now, this is just a name. All right. So what I need to tell it is what list will I be creating this API view for? So I say query set is equal to article, dot objects dot all. This is the list that I would like to create an API endpoint for. This is my list API view. This is what the objects that are going to be displayed on my list API. Article.objects.all. Cool? Not cool? Cool. Okay. Making sure. Making sure. All right. So now, what I need to do is, okay, these are the objects that I will give back. But how and what will I give back from each object? Do I want all of the fields from article? Do I want just the title and the content? What data do I want from each one? So what I need to do is I need to create something called a serializer class. And what did we say a serializer class was? It converts my query set to JSON. Who's JSON? واحد كويتي بالضبط. جيسون واحد كويتي. Just checking if everyone's awake. All right. So I'll say serializer class. So I don't have a serializer class to provide it with yet. Right? So I need to create one. I need to create a serializer class. So what I'm going to do is, just like my forms, I create a separate file. Do I have to? No, I can keep everything in the same file, but it's nice to keep our work organized. Okay? Clear? All right. So I'm going to say new file on API. I'm going to say serializers.py. I'll say from REST framework. Let's keep this down here so we can take a look at it. From REST framework import serializers, okay? And if you guys remember, I was trying to see if I have any shortcuts. Okay. If you guys remember, a serializer class looks very similar to a form, right? So I'm going to say class, article, serializer, and it is of types serializer.model serializer. And I'll say class meta. Model is article. And the fields are, for now, let's just say title and content. Okay? Let's import the article model. I'll say from articles.models import article. From articles.models import article. Any questions so far?
Now, how is it related the serializer to the views?
It's not related yet. What I need to do is I need to import it and say serializer class equal to this. So, any questions on the serializer? Someone is very eager to take a break. خلصنا شنو serializer? All right. Let's assume everyone here knows what a serializer is. Okay. All right. So I'll say, okay, from dot serializers, import article serializer, right? And that's going to be the serializer that I use for my view. Cool? Cool. يلا خلصنا صح؟ All right. So what's the last thing? Now I need a URL to access my view, right? So I'll come up here. I'll say from API.views import article list, which is the name of my view. All right. And then I go down here and say, I give it a pattern. I give it a name, just like anything else. The only difference is here. The reason that I put dot as view is because it's a class.